Hi, my name is Becky. Welcome to my channel. Hey, do you remember when you were little? Some of us have to go quite a ways back, but we were always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? You remember that question? I think at the time, I idolized my big brother, and I'm pretty sure I might have said a professional football player, but that didn't really pan out for me. But we had dreams, we had possibilities. I could be a professional football player, in my mind, of course, but everything was open to us. It was a great feeling. I mean, we could play around and envision ourselves being this or that. It was wonderful. And then, we were told to kind of focus in and make a plan and make whatever we wanted to do happen. That's great. That's great. We chose and lived. And we're not asked that question anymore, ever. Have you noticed that? It's kind of crazy. It's like, maybe you're done. What are the reasons no one asks the question? I think a lot of people think, you choose what you want to do and then you maintain it. You work for years and years and you maintain whatever it was that you picked. And other people think, it's too expensive and it would take too long to learn or be anything else. So you kind of pick the horse you rode in on, and that's the way it is. And then still other people think, culturally, you pick when you're little, you do your thing, and that's just it. You're done because you're old. And when you're old, at least that's what it feels like, doesn't it? I can't believe the sense of, I guess I'm done. Are you done? I am not done. I'm going kicking and screaming. I'm going to be a handful, remember? A fun handful, that's right. So what's the cost of not asking the question? Can you imagine living out your life? And, we've seen it happen. A lot of times they'll talk about how the elderly or the older people or the seniors kind of lose hope, lose confidence. They just, kind of shrink in on themselves and fade away. It's sad, really. And can you imagine how that would feel? To feel like you had no options and to feel like, you've lived, you've done your thing, and there's no way to grow. I can't imagine how suffocating that would feel, how limiting that would feel. And I don't like to be limited. I like to feel like anything is possible. I'm a possibility thinker, which oftentimes doesn't make me a realist, but I'd rather live in my possibility any day because it does make me happy. Because I can see so much opportunity for fun, for hope, for joy. Don't you want that? Being a possibility thinker isn't all bad. But the cost of not asking, who do I want to be now, is high. It's damaging because if we don't grow, not only does that impact our mental health, but our brain health overall. It's never too late as far as your brain health is concerned, because neuroplasticity, great sounding word, my new favorite really. It's become a whole lot more popular to talk about. Growing up, I remember they'd say, hey, your brain is fully formed at 25, so if you've learned stuff, great. If not, I'm sorry. And how terrible. I can't learn new things after 25. Again, with the limits. I don't like anybody telling me what I can do or not. Don't box me in and say I'm done. And now they found that neural pathways continue to be formed anytime you challenge yourself to do something new. Can you believe that? They say that if you don't use those neural pathways, they can shrink up and even disappear completely. But if you introduce stimuli or a requirement, a need of it, your brain can form new pathways. You know, you've heard about people with severe head injuries, and maybe the part of the brain that used to be responsible for some action is impaired or damaged, and a different part makes up for it. It's like there's a new pathways formed, they bypass it, and all of a sudden, you know, they can do things people told them they couldn't. We don't need to be told what we can't do. We need to make sure we stay confident, thriving. Okay, so how can we reclaim this? Keep asking ourselves this question. And I think, you know, we shouldn't even just ask it once. Hey, why don't you wake up every day and say, who am I going to be today? My daughter, I remember my youngest, we went, she must have been 3 or 4, and we went trick-or-treating, and she had a costume that I got her, paid money for, and she said no. And, you know, by having my youngest, the third one, I figured, okay, I'm smarter than this. I'm not going to deal with this tantrum that will ensue. Fine. Who do you want to be? Put your costume together and let's go. So she did just that. She was so happy. She wore a clown wig with some bunny ears. And I said, who are you? And she said, I'm a funny bunny. And I thought, oh, clever, that works. Okay, we're good. Get in the car, buckle up, let's go. So we go over to where we're trick-or-treating, and 2 houses in, somebody says, oh, who are you? And I'm waiting for the funny bunny comment, and she says, I'm a no-pile. And I had to do some investigative work, to be honest. I'm like, a what? A no pile? And I'm thinking, she's just a big old pile of no. Okay, tantrum could be ensuing anyway. And she says, no, I'm a no pile, like the no. And I went, you're a snow pile? And she said, uh-huh. No one told her she couldn't be a snow pile. She was a snow pile. Did she look like a snow pile? Not a bit. But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what she thinks. So this is the same way. It doesn't matter what other people think. Don't let fear hold you back, or expectations. Oh, you're too old to start that, or aren't you a little old to be doing that? No, you're not. Those are the old people. These are the new old people. We aren't going to be limited. We're going to be fun handfuls. And we're going to try new things. And we're not too old. And we're not afraid to fail. Because when you try something, you might fail. But it still might be fun. And you might have learned something. Either that you really don't like that, or, wow, that was a challenge. I bet I could do it if I try it this way. You're growing. Whether you win, whether you fail, whether you succeed, you're growing. You're doing things. You're living your life to the fullest. Have that joy, that potential. Start to question, you know, how can we do that? How can we come up with ideas on what to be? You know, we're so used to not even asking ourselves what to be or do or learn. How do we come up with ideas? Well, one way, I've come across some really great things by trusting the algorithm. I don't really trust the algorithm. I mean, who does? But sometimes they'll come up with something I'd never thought of. The algorithm in Googling, look through a few down your page, scroll up, and there's all kinds of things you've never really heard of, maybe, and maybe didn't want to. Scroll past them. And then maybe it's in the things that they suggest to you on Amazon. People who bought this also like this. Oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder what they use that for. Start being curious. The more curious you are, the more you're going to be led to things that maybe excite you. Or, you know, you walk away and you've learned about something you never knew before. Did you know that kite flyers sometimes can attach a camera to their kite and it becomes like a drone? I learned that bit of obscure information somewhere, and I'm happy to know it. And I might even try that and make a video about it. There's so many cool things you can learn. So try to be curious, to approach algorithms with curiosity and say, ooh, I think I will screenshot this idea and make a file in my photos on my phone. And then anytime I need a good idea of something I want to do or learn, I'll just go back to my album and I'll say, eeny meeny. Yeah. Or if you're more structured and you're visual and you want to be able to see it all the time, put it on a vision board. Collect pictures, collect words, anything that kind of interests you to try to piece together what you could do that might help fill whatever it is that interests you, with what you have where you're at right now. Because there's always some way. You can always start on the path to doing something. Maybe you always wanted to be a doctor. Well, can you start now? Well, yeah, you could if you wanted. And if you don't want to, well, what could you do instead? Well, I always liked learning about muscles. And on YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube. Maybe except for how to be a doctor. Don't learn that there. But there is a song that will teach you all the muscles in the body. Learn the song. Wow and amaze your friends. If that's the reason you're doing it. If you just want to say, hey, I finally learned those muscles, which in my case it would be, I tried. I learned some. But, this song's for you. There's so many ways to accomplish your goals. And in quiet times, it'll give you something to do and feel good about. When you try something that's hard and challenging and you succeed, it's like you feel unstoppable. I know I took up the ukulele and I would try to do a note, a certain chord. And I'd say, that is crazy. I have child-sized hands. How in the world will I ever be able to make that chord work? It's not even possible. And for some reason, it didn't deter me and I kept trying and trying. And sure enough, I was able to make it. Wow, I learned that. I learned how to juggle. I've mentioned it before, but I am darn proud of the fact because I couldn't do it before. I couldn't do it when I was young. I couldn't do it through my life, but I can do it now. You're not done. It's not over. Hey, in the comments down there, please like and subscribe, but comment what it is you might want to try. Let me cheer you on. Oh, we can have so much fun. Be a handful. See you next time.